Dawn breaks on August 24, 2025, off the coast of Sabah. Two warships, Philippine and Malaysian, face each other in tense silence. The BRP Jose Rizal and KD Lecu are more than steel. They're symbols of a centuries-old dispute. Sailors watch each other, knowing this is no drill. The world's eyes are on them. A Philippine patrol entered waters Malaysia claims. Malaysia responded with force. The Philippines doubled down. Now, a standoff. News helicopters circle. Foreign ministries scramble. The fate of regional peace hangs on the decisions of these commanders. One wrong move could ignite conflict. This is the Sabah dispute. Old wounds, new dangers. What began as a low-level irritant has become a flashpoint fueled by nationalism and history. The dispute is about more than land. It's about sovereignty, pride, and resources. For these sailors, abstract borders have become a real, dangerous frontier. The sun rises, but the political fog remains thick. This standoff is a warning unresolved history can become tomorrow's crisis. For decades, Sabah simmered in the background. Now, it's front-page news. The presence of warships shows how quickly old documents can spark modern confrontations. The world waits, hoping diplomacy prevails. The sea is rich in resources, but today, it's rich only in risk. The stakes are high, and the next move could shape the region's future. In this tense moment, history and ambition collide on the open water. To understand today's tension, we must look back to the Sultanate of Sulu, a maritime power whose reach spanned the Sulu Sea and Borneo. In 1658, the Sultan of Brunei granted North Borneo, now Sabah, to the Sultan of Sulu as a reward for quelling a rebellion. For centuries, borders were fluid, communities moved freely, bound by trade and kinship. Then came the colonial powers. The British and Spanish drew new lines, ignoring local realities. The Sultanate was squeezed between empires, forced into difficult choices. Colonial borders replaced traditional ones, dividing communities and sowing seeds of future conflict. Britain secured North Borneo for its resources. Spain consolidated the Philippines. When independence came, both Malaysia and the Philippines inherited these artificial borders and the disputes that came with them. The Sabah issue is a direct legacy of colonialism, a ghost from the past haunting the present. The lines drawn by outsiders still shape lives and politics in Southeast Asia. The modern Sabah dispute centers on a single 1878 agreement between the Sultan of Sulu and the British North Borneo Company. The Sultan received annual payments. The company got rights over Sabah. The crux, the Malay word pajak. Does it mean lease or cede? The Philippines says it means lease, so sovereignty was never surrendered. Malaysia says it means cede. Sabah was given away. This ambiguity fuels the dispute. Both sides claim the same document supports their case. The annual payment continues, but its meaning is hotly contested. For the Philippines, it's proof of a historical right. For Malaysia, it's settled law. The 1878 deed is not just history, it's a living dispute, shaping politics and military postures today. The meaning of one word has led to bloodshed, diplomatic rifts, and today's naval standoff. The past is never really past when its language remains unresolved. The Sabah dispute is entangled in the wider South China Sea rivalry. China, the US, and ASEAN states all have stakes in these waters. The Philippines-Malaysia rift weakens ASEAN, giving China an opening to divide and influence. China exploits these divisions, while the US is caught between two partners. The naval standoff distracts Manila and Kuala Lumpur from the bigger threat. Any escalation could draw in global powers, with unpredictable consequences. The ships off Sabah are not just national symbols, they're pieces in a global chess game. The world's superpowers are watching, ready to move. Regional disputes now have global stakes. Beyond politics, the Sabah dispute is deeply personal for those living along the Sulu Sea. For generations, the sea was a bridge, not a border. Families, language, and faith spanned both shores. Now, borders divide relatives and communities. Many Filipinos in Sabah live in the shadows, undocumented, mistrusted, and vulnerable. The 2013 Lahad Datu incident deepened suspicion, making life harder for Sulu descendants in Sabah. Jobs, healthcare, and education are out of reach for many. fear of deportation is constant. "This was our land," says an elderly man near Sandakan. "Now I am treated as a foreigner." In Sulu, poverty and conflict push young people to risk dangerous journeys to Sabah, chasing hope but finding hardship. The dispute makes their lives even more precarious. Sabahans, too, feel the strain. Security fears, memories of violence, and a sense of unease. "We want peace," says a shopkeeper in Lahad Datu, but the claim only brings trouble. The dispute has turned neighbors into strangers and kin into potential threats. Traditional livelihoods, fishing, trade, are disrupted by security and suspicion. The human cost is measured in fear, lost opportunity, and broken ties. The real victims are the people caught in the middle. The sea that once united now divides. The dispute's legacy is written in the lives of those who call this region home. The Sabah dispute is also about wealth, palm oil, and gas. Sabah is an economic powerhouse for Malaysia, vital for its budget and development. Control means billions in revenue. For Malaysia, losing Sabah would be a major blow. For the Philippines, Sabah's resources are a tempting prize, potentially transformative for a resource-hungry nation. The annual payment to the Sultan's heirs is tiny compared to Sabah's real value. The dispute disrupts local economies, hurting fishermen and traders on both sides. Traditional livelihoods are sacrificed for high-stakes resource battles. The focus on oil and gas overshadows the quiet destruction of local ways of life. Economic interests make compromise even harder. The standoff marks a crossroads for Sabah's future. 4 paths lie ahead: escalation, status quo, joint development, or legal resolution. Escalation risks catastrophe, war, shattered unity, and human suffering. The status quo means simmering tension, periodic incidents, and no real peace. Joint development offers hope, set aside sovereignty, share resources, and build trust. Legal resolution, international arbitration, could settle the issue, but carries political risks for both sides. No option is easy. Each demands political will and courage. The best path turns conflict into cooperation. The worst path leads to disaster. The choice is urgent, and the world is watching. The next move will define the region's future. Will leaders choose confrontation or cooperation? Diplomacy is now critical. ASEAN's credibility is on the line. The ASEAN way, consensus and quiet dialogue, may be slow, but it's essential here. Both sides must de-escalate, pull back ships, and open channels for real dialogue. Trusted third parties can help rebuild trust and communication. ASEAN can't impose a solution, but it can create space for one. The solution must come from Manila and Kuala Lumpur, requiring courage and compromise. Leaders must prepare their people for a settlement that values cooperation over zero-sum thinking. Empathy and understanding are the keys to peace. The warships at dawn are a stark warning, but not destiny. The future of Sabah depends on choices made now. Leaders can choose confrontation, or they can choose peace and shared prosperity. True resolution means seeing the sea as a bridge, not a barrier. The goal: improve lives, heal divisions, and build a foundation for unity. ASEAN's strength lies in solving its own problems, not letting outsiders dictate outcomes. The region's history and ties are resources for peace, if leaders are bold enough to use them. The choice: remain prisoners of the past, or become architects of a peaceful future.